Hey, how's everyone going? Just want to talk about a movie called Kids. I saw this for the first time this year, and yeah, I was like, wow. This is a movie that's been on my radar for a while, and I've wanted to see it for a while, but I just hadn't, because I was kind of waiting for like someone to do a good release, and Umbrella put out this copy. I remember when they announced it, I was like, oh, that's cool. They had like this awesome special edition, and they had a normal edition. I was like, oh, I had never seen the movie, so I didn't know if I was like gonna like it, because I didn't want to pick up that special edition and then end up hating it and then selling it off. So I was like, I was getting the normal edition, and luckily for me, when it came out, I didn't get it straight away. I remember I waited for a bit, and then there was like a sale. So I got it like for like $5-10 off. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I ended up loving the movie. I was like, yeah. So basically, yeah. Kids, man, Kids is a movie that I think I would have rewatched if I watched it while growing up. Man, that's like a movie that has characters, situations that I can relate to from growing up. Like, there's certain characters that I would have known in high school. Like, I would like, or things that happened in high school. You're like, oh shit, I know someone that experienced that, or there's like certain characters, like you have the skateboarder kids, and you're like, I know that skateboarder kid. I know the dude who's having sex all the time with different girls, or the guy that wants to get laid but hasn't, or the guy doing drugs, and all them characters are here. And that's what I love about this movie, is that it just feels like they're kids. They're real kids. It doesn't feel like Hollywood. They didn't Hollywood it up. Like, they don't feel fake, or it's like, would they really do that? So yeah, that's why I find this movie really interesting, because yeah, it's like, yeah, that's fucking real. It feels real. How it's written, and then the look of it, the 90s kind of grimy look to it, I really like. I just love that. Like the locations and that. And I just love like the movie. Basically, you're following these kids, they're getting up to all shit, you find out they're having sex, some might have sexual diseases, there's the drugs, there's, hanging out, doing drugs, getting drugs, hanging around the skateboarder kids. Yeah, it's, going to places you're not meant to go, and then at the end of the night, like, there's a big house party, situation like that. Yeah, like growing up, yeah, I would have loved this movie. This would have been like one I kept going back to. But what I'm watching it now, I think it's a fucking great movie. As a movie itself, like, it's fucking great. It's it does its job. It's fucking tells a great story. It's very interesting. As a movie, love it. Kids, really good stuff. It's also cool how it's got some really famous people before they were famous. I love that. Discover movies, and you say, oh, I know that they're real famous. Like, yeah, there's a bunch of actors who are famous, and that's like really interesting. Then on here comes a cool ass documentary called it's called We Were Once Kids. Really cool fucking documentary about this movie. It's really interesting, because it's about the whole making of this movie and the aftermath. And the making of is very interesting, because it's interesting. The writer was basically a kid, and he hanging around all these kids, and how some of the kids weren't even actors or that's very interesting. It was from the neighborhood, and that was and then there's the director, and all the stuff with the director. Well, that was a bit, some of that stuff, very shady shit, but really interesting doco. But then it's the aftermath of, okay, you got the kids who went off to be famous, but then you got the people who weren't actors before trying to be actors. They go off to Hollywood and that, and then the situations that it goes into a very dark place, like with these people, like turned to drugs, fucking suicide, all that shit. Like it's crazy and it's fucked up and it's sad, but it's a fucking amazing doco. How he explores all that shit. Yeah, about this movie. And that's why I watched the movie and then straight after I watched the doco, and it's a great double feature. Like for me, that's why every time I watch kids, I will probably watch that doco because it's so good. That documentary is like definitely one of the best documentary about a movie. There's some really good ones out there, but yeah, that ranks up there for me. It's so good. It's such an interesting look behind the scenes. You get, the writer. Interestingly, the writer, yeah, I watched a couple of his movies he's made, so that was really interesting. Like, a couple of years ago, I watched one of his movies. I forget what it's called. It was a comedy. It was okay, and then there's that movie with Franco in it, which I watched, which is interesting, where hot teenage girls robbing people, got guns and ski masks. Is it Spring something? It's called Spring something. Yeah. But yeah, that was an interesting movie. I haven't gone back to it. I would like to go back to watch that, see if that, because I thought it was alright, Didn't love it or anything. So yeah, I hear he makes very out there kind of movies now. So yeah. But yeah, and the director, I haven't seen any of his movies, so I'm not very familiar with his work. But Kids is really good. Fucking story first is what interests me, the characters, but it just is really interesting movie, and it'll be really interesting. Like I think, like if you grew up like in the 80s and 90s, that's a movie that you can relate to, even early 2000s. But I don't know how modern kids would relate to that movie now, because how things are so fucking different. Like watching that, it feels like a time capsule going back. You're like, oh, them days, yeah, them days. But you look now, like, yeah, I don't think kids do that these days. Them kind of things, like, yeah, it's a very different time. So yeah, that's very interesting. So yeah, overall, I think Kids is a great movie, and like it's one of them like movies that I love, but also I would go back and rewatch, because there's movies that I love where I would never go back and watch. This is one of them ones that I can see me rewatching every now and then. It's that good. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and yeah, bye.